Best of high-end.
Experience the beauty of audio and video.
Well, the obvious reason for using batteries is not having any noise from the mains. So in a normal house, you have other white goods, refrigerators, dishwashers, whatever, and they all are noisy. They all pollute the mains signal, the 230 volts, 50 hertz, or 115, 60 hertz, whatever it is, wherever you are around the world. The lower the main voltage, the worse the current peaks that you actually will get. So around the other regions of the world, even a bigger issue. Using batteries just eliminates that completely. And the idea, of course, was that when you were using our gear, you were listening to music, you actually turned the products off. So they were completely isolated from the mains, only running on the batteries. So that kind of noise that you would get from other white goods was eliminated completely. And that has a huge influence on the soundstage especially, because the noise floor drops and you can just hear more. And it took me a long time to develop, first of all to figure out, that was not the thing that took the longest time, but how many batteries, how much power do I need? Because a drawback of the sound from batteries is very often becomes a little bit slow and undynamic, because there is a limit to how fast you can draw current from a battery. So which battery type to use and how many to use them and what follows the batteries in terms of capacitors, how big a capacitor bank, so you can, don't have the slow kind of sound. And then comes the thing that was most tricky is that when you use batteries, there's a lifetime on batteries. And if you charge them wrong, you really shorten that lifetime a great deal. So I spent a lot of time figuring out to have the right kind of measuring for the batteries. And it's just not like a lot of people think you measure the voltage. No, you don't just measure the voltage, because some batteries, like an old nickel-cadmium battery, the voltage is actually always the same. What changes is the internal resistance. So if you measure on a battery like that in the wrong way, it's always, let's say, 9 volts. It will always be 9 volts, but when you start to draw current from it, the internal resistance is greater, so you can draw less current from it. And so each different type of battery, because its chemistry has its own way of working. So the whole measuring circuitry and the charging circuitry and the security circuitry, all of that stuff needs to be, developed for each type of battery. So we had to choose which battery was best, and then we had to do all the other stuff at the end. And in a way, so the user didn't have to worry too much about it. So there was a lot of timers going on. You could play for 48 hours. Or run the products on 48 hours before the battery came to the limit. But who listens in 48 hours? Nobody's doing that I know anyway. So you could set your own timer. Well, I normally listen for 2 hours. After 2 hours, it automatically started charging, and there was lots of things going on there. So I got to the point where I developed some products, a phono stage and a line stage, that also was awarded by Roy Gregory from Hi-Fi Plus. Sounded great. And then why did I stop? Well, because of Brussels, since we're so close. They had this lead-free ROS thing that they started with many years ago. And we were using lead-acid batteries, and they were on the table to be included in this whole law. So I realized that, if they're included in this law, I'm not even allowed to ship a product with this type of batteries. So what to do now? So I spent a long time to design a normal power supply that was actually better than the batteries. But that took me, again, 3 years or so. And then when all of that was done and I was happy, it turned out that the lead-acid batteries was removed from the law. But that was the point of no return. I spent too long time. There was no way I would go back to batteries. So that's the short story.
Best of high-end.
Experience the beauty of audio and video.
Sign up for free.
at bestofhighend.com.